If you're starting growing roses, these 14 lessons will save you time, money, and disappointment. Hi, I'm Florina, and welcome to the Rose Enthusiast Garden. It's a very cold winter day here in the UK, and because we are approaching the end of the year, I have been thinking at what lessons I have learned after 2 summers of growing roses. I have been growing roses for the last 2.5 years, and I've grown all sorts of roses, from English roses to very cheap Poundland roses to climbers and shrubs, and these are the biggest lessons that I have learned. I have always been a gardener and I grew mostly veggies, but lately I started growing flowers and I fall in love with the roses. And I'm saying that because I think it's easier to observe and learn everything that is happening in the garden if you have a little bit of experience of growing anything. My very first roses after the Poundland one were the David Austin, and the first one I had 2 Olivia, Penelope Lively and Marie Delany. And after a year I have added a lot more. I think you know the feeling, once you're starting it's very hard to stop because you are finding new and new varieties that promise to give you more flowers, to be healthier and so on. So here are the 14 lessons that I have learned along the way and that I wish I knew them sooner. So first one, roses are tougher than their reputation. When I started, I was a little bit afraid to touch my roses. I thought if prune them wrong, feed them wrong, or even look at them wrong, they will die. I also hated working with plants with thorn, and that was always a pushback for me. What I have learned is that roses are incredibly resilient. They can handle mistake, they bounce back from bad pruning, transplant shock and even neglect. They just need a bit of attention from you and they can be the star of the garden. If you are new to roses, trust me, they are stronger than you think. So the second lesson is watering deeply. It's better than watering often. One of my early mistakes was watering often but not deeply enough. What I've learned is that roses prefer deep, thorough watering that encourage strong root growth. Shallow and frequent watering leads to weak roots and stressed plants. Once I switched to watering less often but more deeply, my roses become noticeably stronger. The third lesson is that water affects roses more than you think. I used to blame myself when something went wrong with the rose. Now I have learned that weather plays a huge role. Heavy rain, extreme heat, sudden cold snap, all of these affect blooms, disease and growth. Not every issue is something that you have done wrong. The fourth lesson is that sunlight matters a lot. Usually roses want about 6 hours of sun per day, but it depends on the variety and your climate. Some of them don't like direct sun or need some protection in the afternoon. Usually when they don't get enough sun, you will see fewer blooms, weak growth and more disease issues. Once I move or adjust roses in different sunnier positions, the difference was night and day. If you don't have enough sun in your garden or in a particular place in your garden, it's better to choose other plants that you know they are doing very well in shadier position. I have seen a lot of recommendation for Danehue and James Galway for shadier corners. I cannot confirm this 100% because mine they are getting a lot of sun and they are doing well. The fifth lesson that I learned is that airflow is just as important as the sun. This one surprised me because roses, even if they are in full sun, they can struggle if they don't have enough airflow. Crowded plants trap moisture and that's when disease show up. Learning to space my roses properly and not being afraid to prune for airflow made a huge difference on how healthy they stay. I have a space in my garden where I had a few roses and every single rose suffered of some disease when was planted there. I had Olivia, it suffered from powdery mildew. Even if that rose is well known for being a very healthy one, but it got better when I moved it. I also had Tropicana, my darling. They also suffer of black spot and rust. And now I have Oloton All Hall, who is also suffering of black spot. The sixth lesson is you don't need to have a perfect garden to have beautiful roses. Social media can make it seem that every garden is flawless. Real gardens are messy, imperfect, and constantly changing. Some of my beautiful roses grew in less than perfect conditions. Progress matters more than perfection. One thing that I will change, I know that my roses need more space between them and the fence. I know how important is airflow in growing healthy roses, but this is my garden right now. I need also a lawn for my dogs and for my family, and this is how we'll stay for the moment. The seventh lesson is mulch can play an important role in keeping your roses healthy. For a long time, I thought mulch was just for looks. Now I know it's one of the most important things you can do for roses. Mulch helps retain moisture, regulate soil temperature, improve soil over time, and suppress weeds. A well-mulched rose is a much happier rose, and the well mulch is the key factor. Mulching should be done accordingly to your climate and your season. I will leave here in the description below a video about mulching. It's a video from Fragrant Roses channel. If you haven't seen it already, it speaks in details about the advantages and disadvantages of mulching your roses. If you want more details about this, please go and check it out. The eighth lesson is you don't need to panic over every black spot. As a beginner, every spot or yellow leaf felt like an emergency. Now I have learned that not every imperfection needs a reaction. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is to observe first, adjust sun, airflow or watering instead of immediately spraying something. I like to try to do everything that I can before spraying, and if nothing is working and I don't have any spaces available in my garden to move that rose, only then I will spray. This summer I did spray my Volaton all whole and it did get better. The ninth lesson is that not all roses are created equal and some of them are healthier than the others. After growing more than 70 roses varieties, I realized that not all of them perform the same. Some varieties are naturally healthier, more disease resistant, and better suited for certain climates. Learning which rose thrive in your garden and which one struggles saves you a lot of frustration. Learn to choose roses that do well in rain and humid conditions or that are doing well in heat, dry, and sunny conditions. I personally struggle a lot with roses that are balling in the rain or they form buds but they never open, they simply rot on the plant. When I see a rose behaving like that, I will remove it immediately from my garden. And here a good example is Eisvogel. It is a very beautiful rose, but what for if I cannot enjoy it in my garden? Have I known that before, I would avoid a lot of time and money spent in vain and disappointment. The 10th lesson it's about feeding your roses. Feeding is important, but overfeeding can be detrimental. Yes, it's true that roses are hungry plants, but more isn't always better. Overfeeding can lead to a lot of leaves and not many blooms or even stressed plants. I learned that timing and consistency in feeding your roses is very important to keep them healthy and very floriferous. Some examples of very healthy roses in my garden are Duchess of Cornwall, Olivia, Donahue, and if you want, I will leave in the description below a list with top 7 healthiest roses in my garden, and you can check that if you want to know more varieties. The 11th point is about pruning, and the lesson is pruning is less scary than you think of. Pruning used to terrify me because I was afraid I will do something wrong and I will damage the rose, but now I know that roses want to be pruned. Even if you don't do it perfectly, roses grow out of mistakes incredibly fast. Once I got past of that fear, my roses become fuller, healthier and more floriferous. I will leave here below a list showing how I pruned my roses last winter, but one particular rose that I never shown because it was so bad, I want to show it to you now to see how beautiful it bounced back and how nice it grew over the summer. The 12th lesson, it's about companion plant, and the companion plants actually help. Companion planting isn't just about looks. The right plants around your roses can improve airflow, attract beneficial insects, and can even help reduce disease pressure. It has become one of my favorite ways to support my rose naturally. I will leave here below a video with what companion plants I like to plant around my roses and in which way they can be beneficial to roses. The 13th lesson is that roses teach patience. I'm an extremely impatient person, but with roses I learned that I need to wait. Roses are shrubs and they need a few years to establish in the garden. The first year it's about roots, the second it's about structure, And after that, that's when the magic happens. Roses reward consistency, not perfection. So I cannot wait for my roses to grow and mature in my garden. And the last lesson, number 14, it's about keeping a journal. This can help you more than you think. One of the best things I started doing was writing things down. When I fed, prune, spray, or notice issue. The small habits help me understand what actually works in my garden season after season. Your roses will teach you if you pay attention. You always need to be observant of your environment, climate, garden, soil type that you have, so you need to adjust accordingly. If I could go back and tell myself one thing, this will be take it easy, learn as much as you can about roses, about pruning, about disease prevention, about companion plant, soil health, and be patient because roses do really take time in growing and establishing. I would like to know what are the biggest lessons that you have learned in your journey of growing roses. That was all for today. I hope this video gives you more courage to start growing roses that you like and not being afraid that maybe they are too fussy or maybe you are not able to do it. If you are passionate about growing roses, there are a lot of resources available. One website that I always check is helpmefind.com. Over there, I was able to find every rose variety that I was curious about. And there are so many books. There are on David Austin website you can find on any rose grower that is selling roses, on East Coast Roses, on J. Parker's, and also there are so many YouTube channels, and one that I particularly enjoying watching lately is Fragrant Roses. You can find a lot of content about different rose varieties, how they will perform, how to take care of them, and many great information. So I'm gonna leave you now. Please subscribe if you are enjoying this content and you want to support the channel. And I hope you have a happy new year. And I hope in the next year your roses will be very healthy and very floriferous. Thanks for watching and see you later. Bye!